When discussing the enduring emblems of aristocratic power and legendary old money families in the United Kingdom, the conversation typically gravitates towards the glittering skyline of London, the sprawling country estates in the south of England, or the industrial might of cities like Manchester and Liverpool. Yet, up north, in the rugged terrain of Northumberland, there lies an often overlooked, yet historically vital, old money British family that has not only ruled for almost 1,000 years, but still stands to this very day as one of the United Kingdom's largest private landowners, owning a domain of over 100,000 acres. For nearly a millennium, the Percy family, Dukes of Northumberland, have wielded their influence from this strategically crucial region, straddling the historically volatile border with Scotland. Indeed, much of the area these old money aristocrats add to their ledger of assets has been of such monumental importance that it was even acknowledged by the ancient Romans themselves. It was in the Percy family's ancestral lands that the Roman Empire constructed the iconic Hadrian's Wall, to serve not just as a formidable barrier against northern incursions, but also as a symbol of the Roman Empire's reach. Furthermore, as if ties to ancient Rome and nearly 1,000 years in power wasn't enough, the Percy family legacy is so profound that it has even been immortalized by none other than the bard himself, William Shakespeare. In today's episode, we'll share the full saga of how and why the 1,000-year-old money family, known as the Dukes of Northumberland, have managed to stay in power for so long as we describe. The Percys, the old money family that owns the north of England. In order to get a wide-angle view of the millennium-long influence of the Percy family, we must first take a journey to the north, where the Percy family reigns supreme. This is Northumberland, that mysterious land steeped in historical significance for centuries, where Roman legions once marched and where the Percy family's rule is not just impressive. It is the manor of legends. Overseeing a colossal 100,000 acres of land, these aristocratic titans are more than mere landowners. They're the emperors of the northern English green, reigning over acreage that has seen the ebb and flow of history like few other old money families in the history of the British Isles. And at the heart of this dynasty, steering this majestic ship through the modern era, is none other than Ralph George Algernon Percy, the 12th Duke of Northumberland. Born into a world of privilege on the 16th of November 1956, Duke Ralph, a product of the ultimate prestigious British old money education at Eton College and Oxford, wasn't just only the keys to the kingdom, he earned them with his savvy in modern history and land management. Then, before he took the reins, Duke Ralph honed his leadership chops at Arundel Castle's estate office and managing the family's flagship, Alnwick Castle, for his brother. Indeed, Alnwick, far more than a collection of ancient stones, stands as a towering architectural icon, flexing its aesthetic and historical muscles since the year 1096. And, true to form, this fortress, born from the vision of Ivo de Vesci, has seen a transformation worthy of a medieval epic. From a stalwart defence against Scottish incursions to a majestic circular keep, the Percy family estate Alnwick breaks away from the cookie-cutter mould of Norman square fortresses. But Alnwick Castle isn't just basking in its ancestral glory, it's currently still a live wire of activity. Open to the public, it is England's second-largest lived-in castle, boasting attractions that pull in crowds like a medieval rock concert. And let's not forget its extended stint in the Harry Potter films, where it magically morphed into a wizarding school, making it a pilgrimage site for Potterheads. But the Percy family influence stretches well beyond Alnwick, marking territories like Sion House and lands spanning from Scotland to Tyneside. With a cool £490 million in the bank, managed by Northumberland Estates, the Dukes of Northumberland are more than just land barons. They're influencers in the realms of art, hospitality, and even eco-friendly housing. At the forefront of this dynastic evolution along with Duke Ralph is his partner in life, wife Jane Richard Northumberland. The pair tied the knot in a ceremony that blended tradition and romance on the 21st of July 1979 at Traquair Parish Church. And together they've nurtured a family that's as diverse in their interests as they are united in their heritage. The eldest, Lady Catherine Sarah Katie Percy, born on the 23rd of June 1982, melds the art of gunsmithing with the intricacies of mechanics. Yes, indeed, if you thought that aristocratic millennials were only meant to be socialites and Instagram influencers, think again. Lady Kate is quite literally a gunsmith and mechanic. Next, George Dominic Percy, or Earl Percy, born in May 1984, is not just the heir apparent, but also a visionary in the energy sector as the managing director of Hotspur Geothermal, a British company that specialises in natural resource development and renewable energies. Additionally, Lady Melissa Jane Percy, born in 1987, weaves her magic in the world of fashion, a bit more common in aristocratic circles, yet all the while also boasting a past life as a professional tennis player. And last but not least, Lord Max Percy, born on the 26th of May 1990, crunches numbers and strategies as a financial analyst. Thus, with a multi-talented family dipping their toes in many unexpected disciplines, at least for a brood of aristocrats with 1,000 years of power under their belts, we are faced with our next question. How exactly did the Percys, these legendary dukes and duchesses of Northumberland in the north of England, get their start? And how have they managed to maintain power for more than 9 centuries in the region of the world that birthed the Industrial Revolution? In order to answer that, we must, as is the case with many old money families on Albion, circle back to the fateful year of 1066 and the Norman Conquest of England by William the Conqueror. Now, during the Norman Conquest, from 1066 to the year 1300, the Percy family's entry into English history was anything but subtle. From their origins in Percy-en-Auge, Normandy, hence the surname Percy, they embarked on a journey that was less of a channel crossing and more of a seismic shift in medieval England's power dynamics. Indeed, William de Percy, the clan's original trailblazer, landed in England with William the Conqueror himself in between the years 1066 and 1067. Come to think of it, it might be easiest to imagine this Percy ancestor as the medieval equivalent of a high-rolling startup co-founder who, thanks to the king's generosity, found himself the new owner of prime real estate across Yorkshire, Lincolnshire, Essex and Hampshire. Now, even the iconic Domesday Book of 1086, a middle-aged ledger that detailed the exact locations and power centres of medieval England, chronicled the Percy family's land acquisitions, catapulting the future Dukes of Northumberland from mere landowners to social royalty. As the calendar flipped to the 14th century, the Percys, already by then firmly entrenched as English nobility, dabbled in a mix of military ventures and political machinations. For instance, the Battle of Bannockburn in 1314, where Sir Henry Percy, the first Baron Percy, made a cameo, but not in the expected manner. Evading the battlefield under Edward II, he opted for a strategic retreat at Alnwick. Some called it a tactical masterstroke, others a lesson in picking battles wisely. And this period also marked the Percys' alliance with the Plantagenets, the then rock stars of royal lineage. Without a doubt, aligning with them wasn't just a savvy political move, it was similar to scoring a VIP ticket to the medieval elite's most exclusive social events. Consequently, the alliance between the Percy family and the Plantagenets alliance bore fruit in 1377 with the creation of the Earldom of Northumberland. So when Henry Percy bagged this title post Richard II's coronation, it was less of a step up and more of a quantum leap into the aristocratic stratosphere. Furthermore, the Percys' knack for navigating the tumultuous seas of English politics in the Middle Ages was legendary. Their acumen in military and political arenas was matched only by their shrewd land management and strategic marriages, weaving a web of influence that extended across the British Isles. Indeed, their involvement in key historical events, from the signing of the Magna Carta to the Wars of the Roses, further cemented their status. They didn't just play the Game of Thrones, they rewrote the rules. Therefore, to put this into perspective, to this very day, one of the largest landowners in the United Kingdom has held power for such a long time that their ancestors quite literally signed the Magna Carta. Undoubtedly, that's the kind of familial continuity you can't just cultivate by buying your new kiddie a Rolls-Royce and putting them in a trendy prep school. However, to be clear, being able to maintain power for this long doesn't come without making a few enemies. And indeed, soon after the Earldom of Northumberland was created, the Percys would be involved in one of the most turbulent feuds between families in English history. In the middle of the Wars of the Roses, a period that shook England from 1455 to 1487, the Percy family wasn't merely a group of spectators. They were central characters in this iconic historical drama. This era, marked by the fierce rivalry of the Plantagenet houses of York and Lancaster, reshaped the very fabric of the nation. And the devastating toll of the conflict, claiming over 105,000 lives and ending the Plantagenet male line, set the stage for the rise of the Tudor dynasty. Amid this national turmoil, the Percy-Neville feud emerged as a pivotal subplot, igniting tensions that would fuel the larger war. Starting in the 1450s, this bitter rivalry between two northern powerhouses, the Percys and the Nevilles, laid the groundwork for the ensuing chaos. You see, the Nevilles, during this time, were a family on the ascent. They had steadily gained power, largely through strategic marriages, like the union of Richard Neville with Alice Montacute, heiress of the Earl of Salisbury. This savvy move not only expanded their wealth and lands, but also cemented their status among the northern aristocracy. Additionally, their shrewd political alliances, including ties with influential figures at court, further augmented their influence. Thus, it was this rising power and expanding influence of the Nevilles that set them on a collision course with the established and equally ambitious Percy family, transforming a regional power struggle into a key factor in the larger Wars of the Roses. Now, the city of York, a northern jewel, became the stage for their confrontations, witnessing clashes near its walls in 1453 and 1454 that only fanned the flames of discord. But the feud took a truly dramatic turn on the 24th of August 1453 with Thomas Neville's marriage to Maud, a union that the Percys found offensive. This tension boiled over into a confrontation aimed at decimating the Neville party, a move that pushed the Nevilles into the arms of the Duke of York and the Percys towards the Lancastrian Somerset. Therefore, this Percy-Neville feud was far more than a local squabble. It was a catalyst in the broader national conflict that reshaped England's destiny, and the resolution only came with Henry VII's restoration of the Percys in 1485, a move that not only ended the feud, but also marked a significant moment in the turbulent narrative of the Wars of the Roses. Even further, the Percy family's legendarily fiery spirit during this epoch was so well known that they even made it into the works of Shakespeare himself, with not one, but two Percy family members being characters in the Bard's Henry IV play. And then, back to real life. Next, there's the so-called Rising of the North in 1569, orchestrated by Thomas Percy, the 7th Earl of Northumberland. This wasn't merely a rebellion, it was a high-stakes gambit to replace Elizabeth I with Mary Queen of Scots. Thomas Percy, stepping up as the face of the rebellion, embodied the clash between religious fervour and political ambition. But as bold as it was, the rebellion stumbled, lacking the necessary support and facing a formidable response from Elizabeth I's forces. The Percys faced the music, with Thomas Percy's capture and execution marking a significant, albeit morbid, chapter in the family saga. However, after this tense time for this storied family, the Percys would not only begin to righten themselves, but actually improve their fates by deftly joining both the coming Industrial Revolution and even having a key hand in the realm of British literature. Let's join the family on the next chapter in their story, as they simultaneously deliver key moments to modern British industry, as well as one of the nation's beloved poets. In the 19th century, the Percy family, esteemed as the Dukes of Northumberland, embraced the winds of change brought by the Industrial Revolution. They astutely capitalized on this era of innovation, turning their vast lands into hives of industrial activity. For example, in the early 1800s, the Percy coal mine at Shilbottle was a symbol of their foresight, with Charles Percy's father deftly managing the estate for the Duke. Additionally, as the 1840s rolled in, the Percys, ever the visionaries, plunged into the burgeoning railway industry. Additionally, this period marked a pivotal chapter for the Percys, transcending their medieval, Tudor and Stuart era legacies. The late 19th century's technological advancements and socio-economic upheavals required a redefined approach to aristocracy, and the Percys rose to the challenge. For example, beyond their industrial enterprises, they emerged as cultural and educational vanguards. In the literary domain, Thomas Percy, a distinguished member of the family, ignited a literary renaissance with his seminal work, Relics of Ancient English Poetry. Published in 1765, this collection of English and Scottish ballads transcended its role as a mere anthology. It rekindled interest in traditional songs and ballads, profoundly influencing the so-called Romantic poets. Legendary British figures such as Samuel Taylor Coleridge and William Wordsworth were inspired to craft their ballads in emulation of those in Percy's collection. But the impact of reliques extended beyond the shores of Britain. It spurred the collection and study of ballads as a popular endeavour, resonating across Europe and inspiring movements like the Brothers Grimm in Germany. These movements laid the foundation for Romantic nationalism, a significant cultural and intellectual shift of the era. Thus, outside of their business and battle bona fides, the Dukes of Northumberland, the Percy family, even have a direct hand in the literary history of the English language, from Shakespeare himself down to names like Coleridge and Wordsworth. However, much like the rest of Europe, coming into the bloodiest century in world history, the 20th, we'd have to wonder how the Percys would pull out all the stops in order to continue to reign supreme. As World War I unfolded from 1914 to 1918, the Percy family wasn't content with being mere spectators. They were right at the heart of the action. Before the war's onset, the Duke of Northumberland made a pivotal move, transforming land near Alnwick Castle into a training camp for the Tyneside Brigades, who would join the ranks of the Northumberland Fusiliers. This wasn't just about providing space, it was about shaping the forces that would stand at the forefront of Britain's military efforts. The Northumberland Fusilier, a formidable unit in the British Army, expanded their ranks to an impressive 52 battalions, with 29 serving abroad. And indeed, they were a central force during the war, engaging in the grueling trench warfare of the Western Front, and even extended their valour to the Macedonian Front, the Gallipoli campaign, and the Italian Front. Their role was not only significant, but also symbolised the military might and resilience of Britain. Stepping up to the dukedom in 1918, right before the war ended, was Alan Ian Percy, the 8th Duke, born in 1880. Much is the style of a Percy. His life was a fascinating tapestry of roles. A British peer, army officer, a newspaper proprietor. His military career included a stint as a second lieutenant in the Second Boer War, while his political leanings saw him as a staunch Tory and a fervent supporter of the House of Lords. His influence extended to the realms of journalism and publishing, marking him as a multifaceted figure of his time. Then, as World War II raged, Alnwick Castle transitioned from a family home to a strategic military asset. The HMS Alnwick Castle, named in honour of this lineage, was a testament to the family's unwavering commitment to the nation's defence. Furthermore, the next head of the Percy household, the 9th Duke of Northumberland, Henry George Allen Percy, took the helm in 1930, only to have his life cut short on the shores of Dunkirk, serving the British people, leaving behind a legacy of valiant bravery and service to the nation. Fast forward to the late 20th century, and the Percys, ever the trendsetters, turned their focus to historical preservation. The 1970s to 90s saw them donning their restoration hats, transforming heritage sites, with Alnwick Castle taking the spotlight. Under the stewardship of Elizabeth Percy and Sir Hugh Smithson, the castle wasn't just restored, it was reborn, ready to take on the future while honouring its past. Specifically, the 80s brought a new chapter for the Percys as they swung open their estate doors to the public. Alnwick Castle's transition from private abode to public marvel wasn't just a change of policy. It was like turning a private diary into a bestseller. In this era, the Percys weren't just preserving history, they were making it, balancing their noble heritage with a knack for modern times. And so, here we stand today, with the Percy family, also known as the Dukes of Northumberland, almost 1,000 years in and still holding some of the most sway and acreage on Albion. But we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Which old money British dynasty would you like us to feature next on our channel? And if you see one mentioned that you personally like, be sure to like the comment, so that the top-rated ones are the first to get a video featured on them. As always, we appreciate your continued viewership with us here at Old Money Luxury. Cheers, until next time.